Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Siege MMA, and today I'm going to be doing my full main card predictions. I was supposed to do this video yesterday, but I had to work, sadly. And, bro, the card starts in literally like 3 hours, so I have to get this video quick. I already did my video on the main event, so I'm going to go straight to the first fight of the night on the main card. Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. This is actually a rematch. Very interesting. Now, the first fight ended in a KO on Bruno Ferreira's side. I didn't really watch much of the first fight, but apparently Bruno Ferreira was getting the best of Gregory Rodriguez. Again, I have to rewatch that fight. I haven't watched it in a minute, but a brutal KO. But both are very dangerous. Bruno Ferreira, he coming off a decision win over Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori is very hard to put away. And Gregory Rodriguez coming off obviously a sound victory over Roman Kopylov. But before that, he quite literally killed Jack Hermanson. So it was a brutal KO. So both guys are obviously very heavy, very dangerous. You know what I mean? Pretty much evenly matched in the stats, right? I really don't have like a locked winner on this fight. I honestly just want to see a good fight. I honestly want to see a knockout. Honestly, I think Gregory Rodriguez, I honestly think he's going to be very improved. Obviously, both have improved a lot since then. They're both ranked this time. I think Gregory Rodriguez is going to get it done. I've got Gregory Rodriguez by TKO in the second round. I think Bruno Ferreira is probably going to get the best of Gregory in the first round, maybe. But then I think Gregory's probably going to take over round 2, maybe round 3. But I'm going with second round TKO. All right, the next fight, Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. You know what I mean? The crafty vets are at it again. You know what I mean? We've all seen the memes, Drew Dober beating up black fighters, you know what I mean? But this is actually a very interesting fight. Michael Johnson, his last fight got canceled, but thankfully, he was able to get another matchup. I'm actually really excited for this fight. You know, both have a lot of losses, have a lot of wins. You know what I mean? Michael Johnson, obviously, with the win over Poirier, Ferguson, Barboza, you know, he has a lot of high-level wins. He was at the high level. But Drew Dober, I don't think he's been there yet. And has been chinned a lot, especially in his last couple fights. You know what I mean? And Michael Johnson's kind of been on a little bit of a run, you know, beating Daniel Zellhuber, who wasn't that great, but still had a lot of hype around him around that time. You know, but both coming off wins. You know, Drew Dober coming off a win, I think around November last year. I don't know. But, again, pretty evenly matched, you know, and reach a height, obviously. But I think Michael Johnson, with the run that he's on and his experience at the highest level, I think he's going to find Drew Dober early and get the KO in the first round. So I'm picking Michael Johnson by TKO, round 1. Let's go. Alright, the next fight, Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. Raul Rosas' first time fighting a ranked opponent. And it's been a while since he last fight. I think it was around this time last year, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these young Mexican guys are very, like, inactive. But he's a young guy, Rob Font, a little bit of a veteran, you know. He was at the high level. I think he was at the top 3 at one point. You know, he beat Marlon Moraes. You know, he beat Garbrandt, he beat Yanez. He's beat a lot of style of fighters. But he is coming off a loss. I forgot his name, but he just beat Chito Vera last weekend. But yeah, honestly, Raul Rosas Jr., I think the idea of him being this elite prospect is more so of him, like, just being, you know, this young guy, him saying, you know, Chiwi, all his catchphrases. But honestly, I don't really think he's all that good. He almost got choked out in his last fight. Almost got choked out. I think he lost his UFC debut, actually. It was around April 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So, obviously, he's very skillful, very ugly, but very game. And Raw Font, obviously, you know, he's been at the highest level. He's beat a lot of guys. You know, he is a jack of all trades. He's very well-rounded. You know, he has a great jab, good boxing, good grappling. I just think he's better everywhere. And I just think Rob Font is just going to take over and win this fight. So I got Rob Font by, honestly, I think he's going to win all 3 rounds. I got 30-27 Rob Font by decision. I don't think he's going to stop Raul Rosas because, again, he is Mexican. He is tough. You know what I mean? And look at that chin. I mean, just look at it. You know what I mean? A brick couldn't even knock him out. So, I got Rob Font by decision. Next, we got the co-main event. Kyle Berhayo versus Ranier de Ritter. Kyle coming off a loss to Marvel, the number 1 contender. De Ridder coming off a very underwhelming and a very honestly bad performance against what's his name? I literally forgot his name. You know that's how bad that loss was. Brendan Allen, that's his name. But honestly, I honestly think that Rainier gassing out against Allen so bad was more to him, fighting. I mean, he fought like 4 times last year. You know what I mean? That's a lot. He beat Kevin Holland. He beat Bo Nickel. He beat Robert Whitaker. And that was like his 4th fight, his 4th camp. When you're having four camps, you know what I mean? After 3 great performances, we saw with Marab, 3 great performances back to back, and then that 4th camp is what does it. You know what I mean? Like honestly, I mean obviously, Brendan Allen, he won fair and square, and Rainier, he didn't look that great, but like a gas tank plays a huge role on how you're gonna perform. And I mean, look at him, he's in great shape, and this is 3 rounds and not 5. You know what I mean? And him having proper time to prepare for this fight. You know what I mean? And I think, listen, Kyle Brahayo, he's kind of like the odd man out in the fighting nerds. You know what I mean? He's not really elite at anything. You know what I mean? Like, he's a jack of all trades, you know what I mean? But like a master of none. That's what I said. You know what I mean? Like, he has good striking, good power, good grappling, but like good speed, but he's not like elite at everything else. Kind of like, not like how like Gene Silva, Carlos Prates, and Marissa Rufi, you know what I mean? Power, striking, being able to mix it up. Like those guys, they're elite at that. But Kaio, he's kind of like the odd man out. He's like the leader, like Leonardo in the Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? I think Rainier de Ridder, he's going to find those knees early. He's going to land early. And I think he's going to get Kaio up against the fence. Not stall, but I think he's going to land great shots up close in the clinch. And I don't think he's going to let Kaio breathe. Like, it's easy to pick Kaio to win this fight. Ever since Rainier's last performance. And, Kaio losing to a better opponent. But I just think that Rainier, I think he's going to be game. I think he's going to be locked in. You know what I mean? And I think he's going to use those knees to great advantage. So I'm picking Rainier de Ridder by 29-28 decision. I think he's going to overwhelm Kaio in those first 2 rounds. And maybe Kaio will, pick it up in the 3rd, but I think it's going to be too late. And I got Rainier de Ridder by decision. Now the main event, I already made my pick. If you watched my last video, I got, I just think Max Holloway is going to be too fast for Charles, man. I just think that Charles, I just don't think his pressure is going to work against Holloway. Holloway's going to pivot. He's going to use those feet. He's going to circle out. You're going to land those shots to the body, switch stance. I just think he's going to mix it up a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because respect to Gaethje, respect to Poirier, but those guys, they're not as effective when it comes to mixing it up. Charles, he was mixing it up against them. Gaethje and Poirier, they were relying on power a lot, and their game plan wasn't the smartest. But Max, he's going to use his tools. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna throw his straight punches down the middle. He's gonna go to the body, throw combinations, and I think he's gonna be too fast for Charles. And I think he's gonna overwhelm him. My prediction: give me Max Holloway by TKO round 3. I think I said round 2 last video, but I think round 3 is just the perfect spot. But that's gonna be my picks for the main card. I have to get this video out quick. But yeah, with these prediction videos, I'm gonna do like a podcast. I'm not gonna do too much editing. I'm just gonna talk basically. You know what I mean? If I get any comments, if you like it, then I'll do it like that. But that's my picks, and I'm really excited for this card, man. I'm really excited. But let me know what you think, and that's it from me, and I'm out.